In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the product schema of the products API. We're going to visit our lighting product API Open API spec and Swagger docs and go into the products endpoint. We're going to scroll down and we're going to copy and paste the definition into our Visual Studio Code. All right, so now that we have a look at our schema, let's go to our example schema we just copy and pasted from the Open API spec. I've collapsed down the properties that have substantial definitions, categories, image, variants, and attributes, as well as the optional items. So let's take a detailed look at our schema. First, you'll note that the product template has a date created and a date updated. This is stored as a string and can be parsed as a date time. The name represents the name of the product template, and the template ID refers to the reference number for this particular template model. The default code will only be present as the SKU number when the product does not have any variants. So if the product model represents the only product variant, the default code might be filled in. However, as you see in the variants array, when we get to that, the default code for every variant, including the product template model, will be in the variants array. So there's really no reason to parse the default code in the product template. The vendor ID is the ID of this vendor in our system. The model is the collection or family that this product template belongs to, typically grouped by collection or family on the front end. Now the attributes are the attributes of the product. These are represented as name and values and include a category and image where appropriate. Our latest update also includes the date updated and the date created and the date updated. When parsing through attributes, you can group them by category to display them on your front end or import them into your CRM. The variants array contains all the information we need to import variants or the products into our catalog system. Inside the variants array, each object will be contained an individual variant with its attributes array representing the optional attribute axis. This will be stored as name-value pairs just as the attributes are above. If the variant is custom, it will include an isCustomTrue tag. You can use this to filter out custom attributes or custom variants when importing into your CRM to reduce the overhead load of your system. Importing custom attributes and custom variants into the system may overly bloat your database, so be considerate when importing custom variants. The images array contains the images, additional images, alternate images, lifestyle, and diagrams that are stored as JPEGs, PNGs, or WebP formats. Images are stored in our database but available over a URL. The ID of the image is there for your reference. The name of the image is possibly left blank. The URL will be the fully qualified domain name for that image URL. And optionally, if this image includes a video, the video URL will include the string to the video. If it's not present, then the image is an image. This might change in future adaptations of our API depending on how many brands actually use their video image URLs. Our documents array is where documents related to the product are stored. This can include specification sheets, IES lighting files, or additional product specifications that are related to the product template or any of the product variants. It includes the name of the file, an ID number for reference, and the fully qualified domain name URL of the file. Currently, we're storing vendor URL files, so this will take you off-site to a vendor location for their PDFs or other stored resources. Vendors have the option of storing information such as PDFs inside our database for queuing into AI. However, many vendors choose to store their documents on their own servers. So you'll see the vendor URL as a fully qualified domain name to the vendor resource. Our main image property stores the main image or parent image of that product to be used as the first image in your presentation. This is a fully qualified domain name to the product catalog image. With any images in our catalog, the string can be converted into a size using a suffix appended to the domain. We'll check that out in later modules. The categories array contains all the categories, parent, and siblings of the particular product template. This will include an array of values with the parent ID indicating that it's a nested category. The description sale is the website description you can use for your sales invoices or on your website. IMAP is currently not used, and we may not use this attribute in the future as pricing APIs are kept separate from product APIs. In the optional items array, you get an optional item with an ID of the template, a default code if applicable, the main image as a fully qualified domain name, the number of variants if applicable, the model name, and the vendor ID. You can use the ID to look up the template and import as an optional item into your system if need be. So let's go take a look at a full response from the product's endpoint. Here is an example response from our demo account using the API key provided in our lighting endpoint demo. You'll notice that the date created is a full date time string. You can parse this as a date in your software and extract the information that you needed. You can also search and filter by date created and date updated to update your catalog with the latest information available. The name is self-explanatory. It's the name of the parent item. The template ID is the external reference to this particular template. You can call via the filter parameters, via the template ID search parameter, to find this particular resource by this ID. You'll notice the default code is false because there are lots of variants in the variant array. The vendor ID is a number stored as a string. In some cases, the vendor ID is a string with characters and numerals. The model is the model or collection name that we're attributing to this. The model number is the base item number assigned by Catalog IQ to this item. The model relates all the product variants together. This is different than the collection or family. The collection and family can be found in the attributes array, along with the vendor name. Every product will have a vendor name and a family attribute if applicable. As mentioned previously, the IMAP property is not going to be used right now as our pricing API is separate. For this item, a description sale was not present, so that is set to false. Our main image is our CDN web image of our product template. And if we click that image, it brings up this image here. All right, let's go into our attributes array. Our attributes are the properties that make up the definition of this product template. They can be used as filters or search parameters inside your own catalog, and they can be listed on the product page in organized categories. The attributes include a category, which can be used to categorize and organize things on the front end or back end, an image, if applicable, a field type, a field unit, and a description of the field. Now we'll notice that this one includes Watts in the name. That's actually a mistake. So this should actually be string, and it should include the Watts in the value. So let's take a look at our attributes array, which contain all the properties of that particular product model. These properties can be used to create filters within your own catalog and be parsed to organize on the product page or product detail for that particular product template. Let's see what that looks like on the front end of our website. This product is represented by the response here. So we notice that all the product attributes that are listed under the attribute array show up in product specifications on our web page. This includes things like options, which are concatenated by OR in our present format. In the back end, they're concatenated by a comma. Let's look at the finish, for instance. The finish attribute inside our attributes array includes a concatenated finish value with all the available finishes. On our front-end presentation, we simply substituted the comma for an OR, allowing customers to be able to visualize what properties are options and which are fixed value properties. You'll see our finishes show up in the options array where we can select the finish of the fixture, but they also show up in the properties array. We'll notice that some fields have a number as a field type and a unit, which is their SI unit. The unit can be appended, prepended, or appended to the value where appropriate. Let's go down to our next property, the variance array. The variance array contains every single SKU that is represented on that product template. This includes finish variations, blade finish variations, lighting variations, color temperature, and any other property that is variant between the different product options. Let's expand and look at this. Inside the variance array, each object contains a variant ID, which you can use to reference that particular variant. Each includes a default code, which is the SKU number from the manufacturer of that particular variant. It includes an image that represents that variant combination. The isCustom flag will tell you if this particular variation includes custom attributes. This might mean that one attribute out of the set is custom, or it might mean that they are all custom. At any rate, when you're importing into your own system, Filtering by isCustom can allow you to reduce the size of your database and increase the performance of your application. Take note of that when you're importing and setting different import procedures for different brands, as different brands may have a large number of custom options. Now let's go into the attributes array within our variants property. Each variant contains an attributes array that indicates the options that are variant for that product template. In this case, we're looking at the blade color, the control option, and the finish, as well as the light option being set for this particular product variant. So this variant has an option of blade color aluminum, a control option of fan speed only, a finish option of brushed aluminum, and a light option of 17-watt LED. Let's go back to the product page and see how these options lay out for the product. On our product page, we not only have the options separated into finish, blade color, light option, and control option, but we also have the product attribute images. And each of our attributes includes a product image value. So this is the value image, not the image for the product attribute itself, but for the value of that custom attribute. So for instance, finished brushed aluminum will have an image of brushed aluminum for the option. Likewise, the gloss white image is the gloss white preview, and so on and so on. Now, some options like the 17-watt LED and no light, they don't contain an image, so we've selected to show them in a drop-down rather than a radio view. Let's go back over to our schema. So now we understand that each variant is an object within the variants array. Its attributes can be parsed into the options available in our catalog, and they can be used as options and filters for many catalog systems. Now let's go into our images array. Our images array is a simple array of additional images that represent additional images, alternate views, lifestyle images, or alternate product views. This includes drawings and wireframes as well. Inside the images array, you'll get a name of the image, an ID for reference, and the fully qualified URL of that image. Handling images inside of Catalog IQ comes with some helper functions. So let's see what this image looks like in. All right, great. That's our lifestyle image. If we add a prefix of the size that we want the image to be, we can resize the image dynamically. This allows for greater flexibility when importing into our system. So we can, if an image is large, we can specify that it's 1,000 by 1,000, and we can import a smaller size image into our catalog. This image modifier is available to all images on our CDN. All right, let's take a look at our documents array now. Our documents array contains name, ID, and the fully qualified vendor URL of the document. You'll notice that this is not a category IQ domain, and the URLs are stored from the vendor. We feel at this point this allows the vendors to update their catalog and cut sheets without affecting the final file name, so that updates can be propagated instantly across all merchants. However, this might change in the future as more vendors choose to store their documents with Catalog IQ to reap the benefits of artificial intelligence and retrieval augmentation systems that Catalog IQ utilizes. When storing these inside of your own system, you can store the document itself, or you can store the reference to the location as we have done here. On the front end down here, stored in a documents table and available for download with the document name. Heading back to our schema, we're going to explore the categories array, which is a simple categorization of this item. It is included in flush ceiling fans, and it does have a parent ID, but this parent wasn't assigned to this item. So note that if a parent ID is present, but there is no parent ID inside of the categories array, this can be ignored. This happens principally when we assign something to a category that we don't need for visualization, but we need for back-end organization. For instance, category 32 is indicative of the lighting category, or the fan category, of the fan category. But this particular item is not assigned to fans because it's already assigned to flush mount ceiling fans. This might change in the future as we improve our taxonomy of categorization. However, if you have questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, please reach out to the administrator so that we can get the best resources for you. Our optional items include optional items that are available for that particular product model. This particular product doesn't have any optional items, so there's nothing available in this array. And that'll bring us to the point of optional or incomplete items. If a vendor, model, IMAP, description sale does not have a value, it'll show false. And you can parse that out when you're importing into your application. So this has been a review of the Products API Endpoint schema. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions, please contact your administrator or admin at catalogiq.app.